There we go.
There you go.
All right. So I did an intro. I didn't have record playing. It's a funny way to start the first podcast, but I'm your host, long story short, Thomas Allen. I am a Big Brothers purple belt under Sugi Damden here in Virginia. This is my good friend, Olu O. He also trains with me. And Olu, go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself, introduce yourself, and let us know what you're drinking.
Yep. So my name is Wole Sunday. I also train under Sugi, amazing instructor. I'm a blue belt, 2-stripe. I'm a dad of 2 kids and a husband. And what else? I do lots of nerdy computer stuff for work. Yeah, that kind of pretty much sums up my life. And today I am drinking straight rum, Kraken rum. I actually put a hint of agave in there so that the bite's not too hard, you know.
Oh yeah. So
what about you? What are you drinking?
I got this little buzzball thing from Giant. I thought it would be a good little drink, especially since I don't actually drink a lot, but I see here that it's 15% alcohol.
Well, that's a lot in that small can.
Yeah, so that's going to be interesting. We'll see how this works.
Yeah.
But yeah, actually, let me try it. Let me taste this. This is like pineapple pina colada. It's actually not bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I prefer rum though. I'm impressed that you're drinking rum. Not a lot of folks.
Yeah, well, my wife is Caribbean, so
that's true.
That's the thing. Rum. A funny thing during our wedding, when we were the reception, when we were asking, you know, my cousin asked her, "What do your folks drink?" Mm-hmm. And she said rum, and my cousin's like, "Okay, what else?" And she's just like, "No, you don't understand. It's just rum. That's all you need."
Yeah.
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 So, but I got into scotches a lot, and yeah, I drink pretty much anything.
Yeah. Actually, I think the last time outside of a beer during Sugi's birthdays that I had any liquor was at Ed's birthday. Ed is one of our old instructors, Marine Corps officer, real nice guy, got stationed in Hawaii recently. But we just drank whiskey, all sorts of whiskey. It was me, Yo, and I don't know if you remember him, Alex, the kid who moved to Mexico City. Yeah, it was hilarious. Like it was like people that you see outside the gym in a normal setting in a basement, just drinking all sorts of whiskey.
Oh man, I missed that one.
Yeah,
sounds fun.
I thought Ed invited more people than he did, but he kept it real small. But anyways, how'd your training go this week? Did you get to train this week?
Once I'm trying to get out some more trainings. So it's just kind of hard with my schedule and my wife's schedule and the kids' schedule. But I did train once, Nogi. I'm trying to get more into Nogi stuff. So Christian, the new instructor, he is great instructor, breaks stuff down. You know, I learned a bunch of stuff that I wish I learned as a white belt. And yeah, he's really good in teaching. Yeah, it was great. I'm gonna try and do Nogi once a week, at least, and you know, still keep up gi. Yep. So it was okay. I think hopefully next week I should be able to get in a bit more training. I do wish they had like afternoon classes. That would be great.
Yeah, I can second that. Speaking of no-gi, did you see who showed up Thursday? George?
I saw. I missed that class. Yeah.
So for those of you who don't know, the location of the gym that we train at is actually very close to DC, and it's very close to the Pentagon and all sorts of other like federal installations. So every once in a while, we get somebody who's really high profile that comes through the gym. This guy George that we trained with, like I didn't know until he left the area, was like a very high profile what was FBI
yeah
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a, I guess, FBI special agent.
Yeah.
Yeah, he worked on a lot of like high profile cases. But he's just completely unassuming guy. You don't really expect that, but you Google him and you see his pictures right there, next to the director and all that other stuff.
Right. Like a very, very nice guy. Smiles all the
Yeah.
time. Even when he was getting manhandled, that dude had a smile on his face.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we're gonna get the chance to see him again. He's coming back to the area to visit in November. So that was really cool. And that's gonna be a lot of fun. George is fun to train with. So, but yeah, tell me about what you picked up in no gi. Was there anything that really stuck with you?
Yeah, so we did a lot of double leg takedowns.
Right.
And one thing that Christian was saying is, so usually the double leg takedown, when you go in for the entry, you get the knee in the middle, and then what I've been taught is you kind of sweep that back leg to the side of your opponent, and then you come up. What he was saying is, don't sweep that back leg all the way to the side. Just kind of keep it cocked behind you. And that gives you the ability to push forward. And another thing he was saying is like, push forward, don't push up. Because when you push, if you're pushing up, then that's easier for someone to guillotine you, right? But if you're pushing forward, you're basically pushing against their weight. So basically, if you're pushing up, right, the opponent can sprawl,
Right.
and then you're going smack down to the mat, right? But if you're pushing forward, even if they sprawl, you're still pushing against them. So it's like you're still kind of pushing them back. So I thought that was really interesting. It's kind of like a little tweak,
Right.
that I'm gonna try out. Yeah, it's so that stuck with me. What was the other thing? There's another class I went to. Can't remember what technique we did, but I picked up a couple of things that I was just like, I wish I learned when I was a white belt,
So the funny thing is, it seems like every once in a blue moon, I'll see like one little tweak to a technique that I do that makes it like way more effective.
Yeah.
Like the arm triangle, for example. I saw two things in the last 2 months, two different ways of doing it that makes it far more efficient than the way that I've been doing it for the last 4 or 5 years.
Like what?
So, for example, like when you get somebody in an arm triangle, instead of just sprawling right next to them, you kind of you walk your body out away from them, and it tightens up the choke a lot more. And the second thing was doing a rear naked chokehold on them. Like instead of just holding them down like traditionally, like with a gable grip, just do like a rear naked choke on them. It sounds weird, but that works a lot better for me. Like the pressure around, I mean, I can even feel the pressure around their neck just like increase substantially. Like just little things like that. And we were doing takedowns in class. And do you know what from judo? You've done judo. You know what the Sotogari is? The outside major leg reap?
Yep.
So Sugi showed us a way of doing it slightly differently. And it's actually called something different in Japanese. I can't remember for the life of me. But if you cut, instead of going directly at your opponent, like side by side, if you cut the angle at a 45 degree, and then even the kazushi, the off balancing is different. If you basically get a high collar grip and push their head, so that they're almost at an angle to the side, that if you can set it up is way more effective of a takedown, because it seems like there's more wiggle room for error. Like with the Osotogari, if you're not off balancing your opponent enough, they can just reverse it on. But the way that this is done at that 45 degree angle, even if you don't have enough kazushi enough off balancing on them, they can't counter it because their body is too twisted. Not twisted, but like bent. It's just too off center, so to speak.
Yeah,
so I gotta get the name.
That's
of that.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was really interesting. So
I mean, that's like one of the things I love about BJJ, it's like, you've learned something for forever, and someone comes and says like, hey, try this, or try do this just a little bit, or tweak this just a little. I mean, Ed was king of that.
Oh yeah.
He's like always experimenting, and it's like it completely changes your game. It's you're constantly learning.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the reason why Gordon Ryan and John Danaher got famous, because the way that they execute techniques, from the way it looks to me, is different enough for it to be a distinct variation, but it's way more efficient for a lot of people. Like if you watch the videos, the way that they do a standard arm bar from guard is there's way more steps to it, and it's heavily reliant on changing angles. But dude, I'm feeling this drink. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to finish it.
So small too.
I know, it's like this tiny little thing. I'm gonna put that away right now. But
I'm gonna do a little blur here.
So what?
I'm gonna experiment with something here. There we go. How's that? Yeah, cool.
It's cool enough.
Yeah, it's it's great. I mean, yeah, you gotta. I'm feeling the blue belt blues a little bit, just because I haven't been training as much as I would love to.
Right.
But I mean, I'm still sticking with it, obviously.
I got that right when I got my blue belt. Like, a lot of people started just going bonkers on me.
Yeah.
Like people that I would have good rolls with, like the day after I got my blue belt, started going after my damn head. And I was like, did I offend you, all of you? Like, well, what is going on?
The white belts, they're like, I gotta prove something. I want to take down a blue belt.
Yeah.
And the higher belts are like, you got a promotion. You think you're hot stuff, so gotta put you in your place.
For me, it was with the higher belts. It was more like, oh, it's official. You can take it now. One of those things. But yeah, man, the head hunting kind of stopped when I got my purple belt. Like
there's an intimidation factor, I think.
Yeah,
especially with lower belts, like white belts. I think look at purple belts and like, oh, I can't mess with them. But they look at blue belts like, yeah, I could probably do something.
Yeah. But I actually kind of missed it a little bit. It's like
that's why purple belts are so relaxed. They're just like, the lower belts still want to mess with them. Higher belts are like, okay, a little something,
Yeah. Honestly, the one thing that I actually really miss is, like, right before I got blue belt, I started to figure out how to conserve my energy a little bit more during rolling. And but I was still exerting enough energy where I really got a good workout. Now I'm so used to just relaxing during rolls that I don't think I'm burning as much energy, which is good because I think me and you are in the top age bracket in our gym.
Yeah.
But I miss that really like exhausted, sweaty feeling that you get after class. Like,
so what belt do you think is the hardest grind
for me so far? It was white belt.
Yeah. I
mean, that was just for me, but that was for like specific health reasons. I was like 245-ish plus pounds, heavily asthmatic, out of shape. So just getting through white belt was not just a process of learning a combat sport, but it was also a process of not dying.
Yeah.
Because don't repeat this, but I had a mild heart attack in class my first 6 months. So, and getting through that and getting through all the asthma attacks and getting through just all the physical issues that came along with being out of shape and asthmatic was the biggest challenge. So, I don't think all those physical issues got completely cleared out of the way until the middle of blue belt.
Yeah.
but just because of those just because of that physical situation, white belt was the hardest grind for me.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I think for me, I guess it's different for everybody. I think like right at beginning of blue belt and up to like one stripe, like right when that transition period, I think is the hardest grind, just because it's like you're not a white belt, so you're not flailing. And then also you have the other factor, everybody wants your head.
Yeah.
So it's just like constantly grinding. And yeah.
Yes, I know that well.
I think things have calmed down. I don't know if it's just like the makeup of the gym has changed, but now I feel a lot more relaxed. And I'm like, this is getting too much into easy territory.
I think it's because you've been around the block long enough that what used to give us a challenge isn't giving us a challenge anymore when it comes to the newer practitioners.
Yeah.
Because for me, go ahead.
I was telling the younger guys, the white belts that coming. There's some kid who's been training for a few months, and I was like telling him, just go compete. Don't be afraid to compete. If that's what you want to compete. First 3 months, 6 months is something I wish I did. First few months, compete, just test your skill. Go to other gyms and go to an open mat. See how well you do, because at your gym, you're eventually going to know everybody's game, and you're going to be able to know a counter to it, and then it just gets kind of monotonous.
Yeah. I've started going to open mats at other gyms, so much to the degree that I ended up running into old training partners of ours. And that was a little bit weird, the first couple of times. Like, who is this guy sitting in front of me grinning? Like, why is he grinning at me? Why does he know my name? Oh, we used to train together like 2 or 3 years ago. Okay.
Yeah.
But speaking of competitions, that segues into one of the topics I have written down. So how did you feel about competition overall so far? I was like, have you done a competition as a blue belt yet?
Yeah, I've done a couple as a blue belt. I think there's definitely more confidence. I definitely have more confidence as a blue belt. As a white belt, I don't know if maybe it's an age thing or personality thing. I've never gone into competitions thinking I need to dominate and I need to win. And, that's some people's game. For me, that's not my game.
Yeah.
I go to basically test my skill, and I go to have fun. And I go to, luckily I'm in the age bracket where I'm not going to get killed, So for me, it's been an enjoyable experience, more so as a blue belt. And also because the bracket is so small that you end up running into the same people at various competitions, like, hey, and there's a lot more, I feel like there's a lot more sort of camaraderie and a lot more respect in that aspect. But overall, I think I've always had a good time. I used to lose every single time, but I kept on competing. So it's just like I do it more so just for testing my skill, and it's fun for me.
Yeah, I mean, we're in the same boat there. Like, I just went there to see improvement, but unfortunately I just got mollywopped just about the entire time.
Yeah.
Honestly, I thought that competing at blue belt would be a significant improvement over competing at a white belt. But the worst beating I have ever taken was actually in the as a blue belt. It was the last competition I entered, and it was crazy. Like, again, guys 30 and up. We had one guy who was 60, like probably close to 60 years old. He was also a black belt in judo.
Oh yeah.
And, dude, it was worse than the white belt brackets that belt competitions I entered. I was the first match.
I could see that. I could see that happening. It's a lot, especially what's the saying? It's like, be afraid of the old man in the young man's game, or something like that.
Something like that.
So it's like, these are older guys. They're seasoned. They're not. They're conserving their energy. They're thinking tactically.
That's what they weren't doing. They were they were more white belting than the white belts were. Like the spazziness was a little shocking.
It's possible that that's like their first competition or something. Because that would definitely first competition's the worst.
For all but one of the guys in our bracket, except for myself, I'm pretty sure it was their first comp. The old judo black belt like did a immaculate shoulder throw on his opponent, but threw them into the judges table. Like it cleared off everything. I actually caught a monitor was falling off. It was great. But like
he's like does his judo throw and he's like, all right, I'm out.
Legit, that's what he did. Like he we were at Grappling Industries, which was around Robin, of course. Mm-hmm. He did his first 2 matches and then rolled out. Like
so he didn't finish, or
no? His first match, he got the shoulder throw into the table and then he lost on the ground. His second match, he tried to do a drop seonagi, and I think something happened, but his opponent ended up taking his back on it. And then after that,
so you think he left because he lost his matches, or he left because he just felt defeated?
Probably a little bit of both. Like when after the second time he lost, there's something in his eyes that changed. Like his expression like melted a little bit. But I
think that's also, it's like, that's why you don't go into it with any expectations,
No,
I mean, or else you're training for this like semi or professionally, then there's a lot more at stake. But if you're just doing it amateur level, to me, it's not that serious. Just have fun.
No, like somebody was asking me like, why do you back then prior to COVID, and they're like, why do you keep competing if you don't win very much? And I said, well, I have nothing to prove in that regard. Like, been there and done that. I've got other things that are more important. I'm just here to have fun and hang out with the fellas, so to speak. So, but on that note, the reason why that was my worst competition experience was not because of the judo black belt, but there was another guy in there who was like just stacked. He just turned 30. He was a D1 wrestler. So that was probably the closest thing I can come to describing as a scary roll. Like I butterfly swept this guy so many times that if he would have hit the mat on his back and I controlled him for 3 seconds, I would have beaten him hand over fist. The thing was, he was so good on the ground that when I hit him with the
he's like so conditioned to like get back up.
Right. He'd hit the ground, hit the mat, pop back up, and he would spear me like a WWF style, like Goldberg style or whatever. And he kept hitting my right knee. So after like the 3rd or 4th time, my knee just said no. So it took me like 2 or 3 weeks to recover from that. And like afterwards, he was like, so good match. Yeah, about that.
Luckily so far I haven't had any like scary rolls, but it can be scary out there.
So but it's very interesting. I like watching the kids competitions. They seem like they're having fun, and every once in a while you'll see like a really good kid that makes you fear the point when they become like 16 to 18 when they can take adults classes. Because I went to
you went to where?
I went to Grappling Industries this past weekend, and I saw some 8-year-olds who were doing arm bars that were just beautiful. Like they're completely inverted. And perfect setup, perfect form. I was just thinking to myself, that would be very difficult to get out of. When you're older, I do not want to roll with you. No, but
you should check out the kids at the gym. Some of them are really good. I'm trying to get my daughter to competition level. See, she seems to enjoy it so far. She's stuck with it. So yeah, trying to get her to that level.
The one thing I will say that I did notice was that some of the kids didn't know how to escape submissions very well.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like a really bad combo, in my opinion, where you have a crop of kids who are really good at applying submissions and another crop who aren't very good at getting out of them. And some of them sounded like they didn't know how to get out of them at all. So yeah, submissions and submissions escapes would be like a key thing that she should know before she does that. But
yeah, I'm trying to break her out of the habit of so in sight, when someone's has her in side control, she tends to roll away from them and onto her belly, and they just on her back. So I'm trying to get her to like break out of rolling away from them and roll into them.
Right.
And also, if she forgets and she rolls the wrong way, I'm trying to get her to go into turtle immediately.
Right.
Yeah. So a couple of things we're working on, and also mount escape too.
So,
but she's definitely like turned up the aggression level, and she's definitely like eager to spar. So that's like her favorite part of the class.
there was an 8-year-old girl from the lab down in Fredericksburg. I think it's in Fredericksburg. And she was doing really well, but the one thing that she lacked was aggression. Like, she was being very nice to her opponents. Like, she'd get them into side control and then, like, you know, remove the chest pressure and then ask the other kid if they were okay. Like, that's what's up. And I was standing next to her dad, and he was like yelling at her, just be aggressive, crush her, stop being nice. And I swore she looked at him and said, but being mean is bad. You know,
that's what you taught me.
Yeah.
It's a fine line, you know, because my daughter, when I was telling her, you got to be a bit more aggressive, and she's like, they're my friends, I don't want to hurt them. And I was like, I completely understand what you're saying, but in this instance, you can be aggressive without hurting someone. You know, you can be, you need that kind of go for it spirit. You know, you need to want it more than they do.
Yeah.
But you're, at the end of the day, you're still going to be friends. Just don't, you know, don't submit someone and rip their arm out, and you'll still be cool with them.
Right. Yeah. One thing I will say is that sometimes it's very hard to turn on the aggression if you're not, acclimated to it. Because I find myself in a little bit of a bind sometimes with the younger guys, because I'm just relaxed, having fun, rolling with them. And then most of the time, their athleticism is enough to keep me on my toes at that relaxed state. But then there's other times where not only are they athletic, but they're aggressive. And that's when I start to have problems, because turning up the aggression to me is not very natural. So, you know, to get me to that point, it takes a little bit, but usually by that, go ahead.
I'm the same way. It's I've gotten better at it, you know, turning up the aggression, and I try and match my aggression to the other person's. So if you're like going in there and you're trying to do a full roll, I'm like, all right, cool, you know, I'm gonna turn it up. But if I know this is like your first month or whatever, I'm gonna turn it back down. It's hard being able to match aggression level. It's hard being able to turn it up again, because you know there's some folks who are just either 100% or nothing, you know.
Oh yeah.
And then there are people who are, you know, 0% and no aggression. So yeah.
I recently have encountered somebody who was at 0% aggression recently, and he keeps asking me, like, you know, what can I do to improve? And I just want to be like, dude, get a little mean, like.
Yeah. White belt.
You know, yeah, I think you know who I might be talking about.
Yeah. I think
But yeah, like there's times where I'll roll with him and I will go like extremely slow. Like I'll have a high collar grip on him and just hold it for a good 30 seconds just to see what he would do.
It's the young kid that likes to talk a lot, right?
Yeah, shorter fella.
Oh, shorter?
Oh God, there's two of them?
Yeah. No.
I think you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, I do.
Okay. But yeah, so he actually went to Grappling Industry Saturday as well. And
oh yeah, he did say he was gonna compete.
Yeah.
Do you know how he did?
He lost all of his matches. But
how did he feel about that?
So I did have to calm him down a little bit because he was getting like angry at himself. Like, man, don't get angry. You've only been doing this for a couple months.
Yeah.
You know, the white belt brackets are a mixed bag. You might be going against somebody who's been doing it for a month or two, or you might be going against somebody who is, you know, got a brown belt in judo as well.
Yeah, or as a wrestler.
A wrestler.
Yeah, a lot of those folks. Yeah.
Yeah, or you know, who knows? Somebody with
also he's pretty small too.
Yes. And honestly, I would wager to say that the smaller guys are scarier when it comes to jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Like way scarier. Like big guys, you know what to expect from big guys. Big guys are strong and slow, more or less.
Smaller guys get under you and just
yeah, there's crevices and all sorts of places that they can get in. Like honestly, I figured out recently that there is a point where someone is so small that it's hard for me to triangle them. Like trying to triangle their shoulders, for some reason, the way that I'm built, it's difficult for me to do that.
Yeah.
So like some of the ladies, for example, are about that size shoulder and neck wise. And if I try to triangle them, I stop trying to triangle them because they can just slip out of it. So the 0% aggression guy is in that size range. So I use that as a learning tool for him. Like
like you're a small guy. Come here, let me practice some stuff on you.
Well, I use it as like a little bit of a not ego booster, but as like a positive reinforcement kind of thing. So he doesn't know that I have that issue with triangle choking like smaller folks. And I don't even know if that's a common thing. Like, do thick guys have problems triangle choking significantly smaller people? I don't know. But I caught him in a triangle choke and it wasn't tight at all. I was like, oh, you are in that size range. So he's struggling to try to get out of it, and he figured he could just back out of it. And I was like, sweet, you escaped it. Now keep that in mind.
Yeah.
Then I showed him some.
Don't back out of it.
Yeah.
You didn't tell him don't back out of it. That's the worst thing you can do.
Well, I mean, I did afterwards. I showed him some actual triangle choke escapes, but I used it as like a positive reinforcement kind of thing, like a teachable moment. Like I'm trying not to get him so discouraged that he quits.
Yeah.
You know, because I like having people around.
Cannon fodder.
I mean, yes, no. They're our friends, not our food.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah. What else do I? Dude, we went over all the topics that I had written down already.
Yeah.
Oh, here's one. Go ahead.
Just saying, I got a little guy here.
Oh, really?
Should I bring him on?
Sure.
Oh, buddy. Come here. Say hi.
Oh, dude, he got big. Hello. How old is he now?
See, 17 months. Yeah, 17 months.
Like about a year and a half.
Yeah, a little over.
So here's a question for you. Are you into buying the BJJ Fanatics videos that a lot of people seem to be buying now? Like the John Danaher, Gordon Ryan videos?
No. I'm subscribed. There's a thing I'll subscribe to. There's like a lifetime membership, and it's basically a website that has a whole bunch of judo video, BJJ videos and all of that stuff. To be honest, I haven't gone back to it. I don't know. It's just kind of, I guess I don't really learn very well that way,
Right.
you know. But yeah, but I mean, I would watch a bunch of YouTube videos, but it's just, for me, it's kind of hard to translate that to real rolling. And yeah.
What I've noticed, and I've actually bought 3 recently. One was a Wrestling Fanatics, one was from Judo Fanatics, and one was from BJJ Fanatics. The Judo one was a Uchimata tutorial. And that actually helped fill in a few of the gaps that I had with executing the Uchimata. For those non-judo folks who may listen to this, Uchimata is it's a backwards, how would you describe it? A backwards leg reap?
Yeah, I guess I'm trying to think of it now.
So effectively,
yeah,
it's roughly described as a backwards leg reap. Like you off balance your opponent, you turn your back to them,
and then you stick your leg out,
and then you reap their
yeah.
leg. Now, I learned that through 1994, and
you're aging yourself.
I've had limited success with it with jiu-jitsu. It always seems like I was missing some detail. And going back to that details things that we spoke about earlier. This tutorial was like $18. I didn't have any expectations, bought it, and I figured out what I was doing wrong.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. It was the way that I was off balancing my opponent. Like my Kazushi was off. Like I was off balancing them improperly. So the way that I've been doing it is I've been pulling them across my shoulder line, like their sleeve, and then kind of like pulling their collar up. And that doesn't really work for this throw because you have to turn yourself. If you're off balancing that way, well, you're kind of putting a delay in your turn, in your entry. So the way that it's actually an Israeli Olympic judo athlete who did the tutorial. The way that she did it, like I was basically just watching these videos and trying to figure out what I was doing wrong, and then I realized it was my off balancing. It was simply just my Kazushi. And then I used somebody as a dummy, and I tried it her way, and I had them resist, and I probably tried it 10 times. I got eight clean throws out of it.
Nice.
So the success rate was a lot better. But the reason why I bring that up is because I've noticed that when I started watching tutorials early on, like at white, early blue, there was a lot of little details that I was missing from those videos. And now I go back and watch the same videos, and it's like watching something completely different because I'm starting to see the little nuances of just about everything that everything about the technique that's being done. So like even watching Sugi do a technique in class, there's like little things that he doesn't point out.
Yeah, because it's just like such an expert at it. It's like, oh yeah, of course you're supposed to know this. Right. But that's true. And you know what I find interesting is like Sugi will teach something, and you know, he may not teach those little details, but then it seems like the next class when he teaches the same thing, he includes those details, almost like, oh yeah, I got to go over these details, but those details are what really make the difference.
Right. I think he does that because the first time around when he's watching everyone,
kind of introduction. Yeah.
Or it's either an introduction or the first time around he realizes that that's what people need to be have pointed out. If that makes sense. Like,
yeah.
You know, oh, people miss these points. Let me show it to them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like go ahead.
I definitely need some more judo in my life. You know, it kind of sucks that when we had the judo classes, nobody came. You know, it was basically first couple of classes, people were like, yeah, let's do this. And then it eventually turned into private lessons for me.
Dude, I couldn't get up at
But
8 a.m.
yeah,
I couldn't
was
do
it
it on
that
Sunday.
early? I think it was like 9 a.m.
No, I'm pretty sure
But
it was
yeah,
8.
I think that was also a problem. It's just like, but I guess it's because during the week you have to get up early because folks go for the 5:30 classes. Yeah, but it's just I don't know. It just kind of sucks for me because I really like judo. It's
Yeah.
I like throwing people. I don't mind getting thrown myself, but
I
I just like once you, especially in competition, once you hit that clean judo throw, it's satisfying.
Oh, yes. I've actually been getting into it again because so one of the main things that was keeping me from doing judo and a lot of like wrestling style takedowns was my knees. My knees were just hurting so much. And that's actually the last health issue that I'm fixing. Well, recently I went and saw a physical therapist who told me to do exactly what my previous therapist told me not to do. So I've been doing that, and like the judo entries where you turn, like that turning twisting motion, that's what really was causing my knees to hurt real bad. After 3 weeks of doing this other physical therapy regimen, my knees don't hurt anymore. So
yeah,
there's like light at the end of the tunnel. Like I might actually do like one day dedicated strictly to judo at like a legit like judo club.
nice.
Yeah,
I have a hard time finding one in DC, but I definitely want to add that. That'll be what would be amazing is if there's judo in the afternoons. That'd be great.
I think there used to be a judo club at Georgetown.
I've seen that one. I couldn't find any information on it, and then I just kind of lost track on that. But yeah, I think. And speaking of physical therapy, I went physical therapy, and as us old guys, that's just one of the regiments you got to add in.
Oh yeah,
because for me, it's like the hip flexors. It's the big thing for me.
It's physical therapy and stretching.
Yeah,
stretching is a big thing. Like after I lost all that weight, I got the flexibility from when I used to be a breaker back. Mostly on the right side of my body, but that's how I can play like the 10th planet like rubber guard stuff.
Rubber guards, yeah.
Like I kind of felt bad. We had a purple belt tryout on Monday. Big husky guy, kind of like Joe, and he was actually. Were you there Monday? Like no, he was actually not bad. Like he seemed like he knew what he was doing. But me being me, I started playing rubber guard on him and just got 2 shoulder locks in a row on him. And he stopped me. He's like, "Do I suck?" I was like, "No."
Yeah.
I'm just a sneaky bastard.
Yeah. I started. Yeah, I feel like the purple belt is the time for sneaky stuff. Like I've tried some sneaky stuff. Like my favorite thing to do is arm bars from really weird positions. So like, for example, I'll let someone start taking my back, and you know how they go over to try and reach for the collar.
Yeah.
I'll get that arm down on the mat, right? And then I'll sneak my other arm behind their elbow and arm bar them. So it's basically like I'm arm barring them while they're trying to get my back. And it's just like, I tried it one time and it worked. I was like, oh, let me keep trying that. Because you don't expect it. You don't get and they're too focused on taking my back and locking in and all of that they're like, okay, I could probably do this with one arm. But and it goes back to like, learning principles. And I don't know who talked about this. It might have been Ed, was saying once you learn the principles, then that would definitely up your game. And the principle of an armbar is just fulcrum. You have 1 point. It's just a fulcrum. So I created that, and it seems to work.
Yeah, it does. So speaking of arm bars, pre-COVID, Wole was lighter than me. Or yeah,
True.
and I was heavier than him. Now that's reversed. So he's
What,
heavier than
what,
I
what
am.
are what are you now?
I weighed in at 196 this morning.
I'm jealous. I'm still like 215. Yeah.
215? Yeah.
Yeah.
So what happens now is, or what happened previously was that I could get the one up on Wole when we were rolling, usually. I had to be very careful though, because if he got me on my back, I was pretty much done. But now he's like a juggernaut. Like he just goes straight through my guard and just crushes me. And the first time I rolled with him when we got back, I was like, what is going on here? I was like, am I sick? Did I catch COVID? Like, did he like curse me or something? Like, is he a warlock? But no, it's just that our body types like just flip-flop.
Switched.
Yeah. And now I get to experience what it's like being crushed by a 215-pound person. Yeah.
But can I take a quick break?
Sure.
Yes. I just gotta put the kids down to sleep. You know, say hi quickly. Say hi.
Hi. Look at you. Yeah, go do your thing. Actually, well, we can call it here. This was a good combo. We can do it next week. Because I think we're about an hour in, just about.
Okay.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be Friday.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll talk.
Friday works for me next week.
Okay.
There's something I'm doing on Saturday. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, let's do Friday next week. This was great.
Sure. Yeah. Thanks everybody for watching the Booze and BJJ podcast.
Booze and BJJ.
Yeah, I'll post this on YouTube, and we will see you all next week. Thank you, Wole.
See ya.
Bye.
Yeah, thanks. Bye.